Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning, Avi. Good morning, Ariza. Good morning, Michael. I'm gonna do a quick recap of what we discussed yesterday. Not all of it. I mean, because we did. I mean, I guess I could. We did talk about stuff that we talked about 2 years ago. Just doing a walk down memory lane when Bitcoin was at $17,000. I'm just setting up some tabs over here so we can be a tad bit organized. So if you guys have any requests for what you guys want to talk about today, now's the time. Alrighty, let's just jump into it. Good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning. My name is Sean Jackson. Welcome you back to the Mango Grove for yet another Mango live stream. Okay. Oh, I'm having another bad headache. God damn it. It's just, you travel, you gotta deal with new kinds of water, etc., etc. Your head gets wrecked. Okay, that's much better. How's it going, MC? Zilmi? Good to see you guys in here. I know, can you believe it? 2 back-to-back live streams. I got all this pent-up energy inside me because I wasn't able to spend time with you guys for the past 3 weeks, right? So I need to spend as much time as I can now. Over the next week, I'm going to be like, oh my God, gotta do one more. But there's a lot to talk about too, so why not? Not. Okay, adjust this. That's good. Lights. I'm gonna just give me a sec. Alrighty, and adjust this a tad bit. There we go. How are we doing? I miss you too, Zinmi. I did miss you guys. Okay. So, today we're gonna be kind of doing a recap of what we discussed yesterday. Yesterday we went over a few important things, but today I kind of wanna, sharpen up our thesis a tad bit, because while things might be seeming boring, especially if you look at sentiment at the moment, even though Bitcoin is sitting at freaking all-time highs, sentiment is surprising, to say the least. I still think now's the time to be working harder than ever, okay? And we're not going to be prepping for upside targets, etc., etc. I mean, we're almost 10x on our Bitcoin trade, right? What we need to start prepping now for is 2 things. One, the potential top on Bitcoin. We don't know when it's going to come, how high it's going to come. It could be $250,000. It could be $150,000. It could be right here. So we're going to be talking about that. But more importantly, how can we profit and take advantage of it no matter what happens? Okay. Because regardless of what happens at the moment right now, guys, this is that inflection point of opportunity. Okay. How you act right now is going to decide what kind of money you're going to be looking at 4 years from now, right? This juncture, how you perform at this juncture is going to be what you look at back, or rather forward, right? 4 years from now, you're going to be looking back at this phase and you're going to be like, man, I'm so glad I did X, Y, Z, right? So how you behave in the next 4 to 6 months, right? These next few months that are going to seem like forever is going to pale in comparison when you look back at it 4 years from now. So we're going to be putting in a lot of work on trying to come up with the best way to squeeze the most out of this. That's number one. And two, what we should also be looking at over and over, constantly looking for, is these altcoin opportunities that are going to show up in a burst, right? And they're going to come and go. And you're going to feel like, oh man, how did I miss that? Because things happen fast in altcoin land. You got to take those opportunities and get out as soon as you can. Okay, this ultimate discount thinking of trading view has nothing to do with Mango, by the way, so it's just their home screen. But the B-Day discount on for Mango is still running. If you guys are interested in any of our programs, I recommend the Mango Seed program. Do not gamble away your future, guys. There's nothing better than an education, because the Mango Seed program is set up in a way to not just teach you how to trade, but it's a life program. It's a life coaching program. Like, I'm not gonna say anything. Just reach out to the seedlings. Okay, reach out to the seedlings and ask them for their honest opinions. Right. So check out the Mango Seed program at themangoway.com/seed. Now, what I want to do today is revisit this idea again over here. We've been talking about for a few years, but we sharpened it recently over the past year, where we are essentially playing this 6-month burst cycle thesis. And it's been burst cycles, but I want to emphasize that it could also be a sideways cycle. You always need to be ready for that as well. So instead of playing this 4-year cycle thing that everyone's looking at, right, it's been far more profitable and practical to play Bitcoin in the 6-month cycle phases, because you just end up with your account being 5x higher, 10x higher, as opposed to, and it's a lot safer too. It's a lot more profitable. It's a lot more safer. So let's go with. Essentially, we identified that if you look at the weeks, a week or two leading into my birthday, a week or two leading after my birthday, that tends to be a significant. And is this a coincidence that ends up that it's lining up with my birthday, guys? So we're using that as an anchor so we don't forget, right? Every time Sean's birthday is coming along, hey, get ready. Every time Kusha's birthday is coming along, hey, get ready. And again, huge coincidence that Kusha's birthday is exactly 6 months away from mine. So we can play these 6-month cycles using 2 anchor points. My birthday, Kusha's birthday, right? So right over here, we're looking at September of 2023. We marked it out with a zone, because remember, we're not trying to get too perfect with things over here, even though it's looking perfect. We don't want to get too perfect. We want to add a margin of error. Even with your horizontal zones, guys, you guys always want to do this, right? Mark out a zone. Don't mark out one thin line. It's just less stressful, okay? And you can plan for some kind of deviation. Now, September 2020, August to September 2023, we marked out the zone over here, and we're like, hey, do we see a new cycle begin? And things did actually play out that way, right? You saw a nice little burst. Let's go ahead and get an arrow. Where is it? Rusty, guys. Okay, so we saw a nice run. Don't like that one. This one. So a nice run. Going in from around 25,000 all the way up to 70,000. Not bad, right? Then we saw a pullback again leading into September of 2024. August to September marked out the zone. And then again, you can see we had another nice run leading to $120,000, right? So another 6-month cycle. And now we did the same thing. We're like, hey, guys, we're going to be looking for a pullback leading into somewhere around my birthday. And we marked out the zone again over here. And now you guys can see the pullbacks are getting shallower, right? We went from people expecting like 30% to 40% Bitcoin pullbacks to barely getting a 15% pullback, right? And that's something we identified somewhere around here too, where the market has been so scared that the pullbacks have kind of reflected that fear, right? When everyone's expecting a 30% pullback, that kind of gets priced in within the pullbacks. Topic for another time. But again, the best way to play things to move away from something that is specific, right, in terms of like looking for a 30% pullback, was it 20%, was it 15%, is to look at the Mango dashboard. The Mango dashboard kind of extracts all of that numerical bias that you may have, and it just gives you a smoothened out longer term view of how volatility is actually playing out, right? So what you're looking for is blue volatility, long trend, or if you're looking to short, of course, you're looking for blue volatility and a short trend. So blue volatility is when volatility is compressing relative to longer term volatility, and that's what's important. It's not important what Bitcoin did last cycle, right? Everyone is looking, hey, last cycle Bitcoin was doing 30% pullbacks, and we challenged that idea too. I went through, man, I'm going off track over here, but this is what I do. We went through all of that cycle. We went through that cycle, previous cycle, and we didn't see all that many 30% to 50% pullbacks. In fact, if you see a 50% pullback on Bitcoin, it's a red flag. Anyways, this is the best way, right? Looking at the Mango dashboard, guys, is the best way to keep an eye on whether or not volatility is really concerning or not, and when should you be looking at volatility as opportunity. Blue volatility and long on the trend is opportunity to the upside. Blue volatility and short on the trend is opportunity towards the downside. Okay, now going back to the chart, what we saw over here was compressed volatility, and the dashboard was showing it, and leading into September. And switch on over to the weekly to see a more granular view of it. You can see that if you clear out the indicator too, to keep things just as clean as possible, right there, right there, right on the orange vertical line, Bitcoin put in its first high low, and then right over here, I think somewhere around here, I think I even mentioned it on Discord, but it lined up with the end of the green box territory, a second high low. And that in itself, guys, was a very, very important flag. By the way, how's the audio? Is the audio fine? I just realized my mic was off-centered. Apologies for that. But right there was the first big sign, right, where Bitcoin was not putting in a lower low compared to its consolidation. It wouldn't have mattered all that much, in my opinion, as long as you're holding the trend levels that we will talk about very, very soon. The bi-weekly dynamic, weekly dynamic, bi-weekly more important. But as long as you're holding that, we're fine. But Bitcoin put in a high low relative to its consolidation. And in the Mango Seed Clubhouse conversation that we were having, now, I was on vacation and I wasn't able to do daily videos and live streams for you guys, but I was on all of the Mango Seed Clubhouse sessions. We specifically said that the key level that we want to keep an eye out for was this high right over here. I gave you guys the exact number, $117,978, right? Bitcoin takes out that level. It's going to be, everyone's going to be watching it. Every big trader who has any knowledge of the markets is going to be watching for that level, right? And as soon as you take out that level, that was your big sign that, hey, we've now put in a high low, high into the consolidation. Bitcoin's likely going to be attacking the highs. Bitcoin attacked the highs, and we actually closed the weekly above the high. All of these are big signals, guys. You cannot be ignoring that. Set in the high low at the end of the green box territory. Now remember, this green box was drawn in, like freaking in July to August. We were drawing this in preparation for that pullback into the green box, right? It played out perfectly. So again, this is not to pat yourself on the back. You don't want to do that. I mean, do it. Feel good about it. We did well as a community. But what's more important is when you have a set of events that you're expecting to take place, right, and then events to follow after that. If those initial events take place so perfectly to your expectations, that's opportunity for you to trade the forecasted events that come after, right? So you're like getting validation on your idea, guys. Do you get where my mind is with this, right? You're like, oh, it's actually playing out. Okay, cool. Now, let's say you guys did not play these high lows. It doesn't really matter all that much, right? Because are you going to get scared and not play the rest of the event that you're expecting? And what's the rest of the event that we're expecting? Well, we're expecting a 6-month cycle. I don't say 6-month run because we may see a run leading into the first 3 months of the cycle and then a down move into the last 3 months, the next 3 months of the cycle, right? So we'll talk about that very, very soon. I have like some example paths drawn out for you guys. But what I'm trying to say over here is that things have played out exactly to T. Why would we not continue to play that direction? We're going to have invalidations, of course, on that because we don't want to get cocky. But things are going according to plan. There's a lot of opportunity ahead of us. At least for the next 2 to 4 months at the very least, we can start looking for those opportunities. Any questions before I go on any further? I don't want to be talking to myself for this entire stream. What's the point of a live stream if I don't talk to you guys? Where, like it says, I recall the bull market cycle and is when BTC loses the 10 SMA on the 1 month. You don't want to rely on just one single thing, but that's one of the things, yes. And losing the bi-weekly. Yes, there you go. And losing the bi-weekly. Yeah, so those would be 2 of the major signs. There's a third one as well. There's a fourth one as well. There's a fifth one as well. But yeah, those are the 2 big ones, right? And there are intermediary signs as well, right? And I'll be here with you guys through all of that. So remember, make sure to subscribe, hit the notification icon, so that way you aren't missing any of the juice. But speaking of that and the juice, we've been talking about this internally as a community. What ends up happening during these hectic, euphoric moments is that it's hard to do an update as soon as we get the key signals. Two, you guys get extremely busy because there's so many opportunities, and it's hard to go on to the videos and look at that exact moment, right? As to, hey, what level was Sean talking about again? Have we lost that level? Man, I've forgotten. It gets difficult, right? So to make your lives easier, we are going to now be doing a newsletter called the Mango Juice newsletter. Once a week. We're going to try to keep up with this, depending on whether you guys are interested in it or not, right? It's going to be free, at least for now. It's going to be free, where we give you guys the exact level of these key invalidation points, right? For example, the bi-weekly Mango dynamic. Instead of me having to come out here and give you guys the level on a video where I'm like, hey guys, please note down the level, $102,000 to the upside and $95,000 to the downside. By the way, note down the level. Instead of me doing that, you guys can simply pull up the letter and be like, hey, has Mango given us the updated bi-weekly dynamic levels yet? If so, okay, let me note it down. Boom, boom, boom. Are these the levels that they're looking at? Have they changed their mind? If we change our minds, this will be a faster way for you guys to get an update, right? Now, this is going to be a commitment on our end to do this on Tuesdays for you guys once a week. So we will do this provided there is enough interest from you guys. If there's not, of course, we're not going to do it. We're not going to waste our time doing it. We have only so much time, right? So we'll be monitoring your interest by keeping an eye on the amount of people who do sign up. So if you guys are interested, please do sign up to the Mango Juice letter. You'll find the link in the description below. themangoway.com/mango juice. Very, very simple, right? themangoway.com/mango juice. We'll put up a better page very, very soon. But for now, this should do. Just put in your name, email, of course, and you get free access to the the Mango ribbon. Just put in your trading view ID, right? This, again, 2 birds, 1 stone. Instead of like you guys signing up to the Mango ribbon on a different form, you guys get to get access to it over here, as well as other indicators to come in the future, right? So yeah, it'll be much easier to keep you guys updated on everything that way. Now, again, it's going to be more work on our part. So if you guys aren't interested and you guys prefer the videos instead, just let me know, and I'll just keep I'll keep things the way it is. Okay. When we catch him slipping, we need you to do your magic, Kusha. Kusha is like, so. By the way, when have I ever slipped on you guys? Never. But that being said, Kusha has been so on point with her levels. So on point. Okay. Where was I? Okay. So we have essentially begun a new 6-month Mango cycle. The question now is, how will the cycle play out? And I wanna sharpen a idea that I don't call it an idea, but this theory, this thought I have in regards to how things may play out to you guys, because just because we have a 6-month vertical line placed over here doesn't mean Bitcoin goes up in a straight line to this red line, right? Because it could go up all the way to, for example, I mean, we don't know, right? It could go up to 400,000, right? Or could go to 233,000. Could go down to 50,000. We don't know. That's the point. Any any point on this line is possible. Okay, any point on this line is possible. All we know is that we are looking for either a euphoric high over here or a low here. We're looking for this to be an inflection point of some sort. For now, based on how things have been playing out, we will be looking for a low to be placed over here unless shown otherwise. Does that make sense, guys? So how can things play out? I have some paths drawn out for you guys right over here on the object tree window. Where is it? No, it's not showing here. I think it's give me a sec. Give me a sec, guys. Well, I pre-did this for you guys. I could just do it again though. Let me just refresh screen to make sure. Oh man, when a presentation. Oh, is it here? Okay, there we go. There we go. Okay, cool. I think I may have just missed it. Okay, so multiple paths we may take. Okay, I'm going to go backwards on path 3, path 2, path 1. The first path, we put in a high somewhere around, let's say Jan. Again, don't look into the numbers I have over here in regards to how high price is going. Like currently it's sitting at this drawing is 225,000. I just drew it like willy-nilly, right? I didn't put too much thought into it. So essentially a move into like 165, put in a high low at like 150, and then a high in 232, a lower high, and then a low into our red vertical line here coming in around like March, like around second week of March, right? We're looking somewhere around there. So 6 months away from this green zone. So we're looking for a low here. Now, how low do we go? We don't know, but we're looking for this kind of price movement. This is an example path that Bitcoin may take leading into the next 6 months. So that would essentially be putting in our high somewhere around, let's go green, dotted line, right? Somewhere around Jan. So let's say December-ish to Jan. Again, this is not, we're not trying to be accurate here. We're just trying to show you guys how price may play out in different scenarios while still respecting the 6-month thesis. Okay, this is one path. Now, another path is, I'm going to go ahead and delete this, hide this, is this path right over here, where we don't put in the high leading into March, but instead we put in the high in March. Okay, now again, this is not to scale. We're not looking at 230,000 specifically. It could be as low as 200, 190, 160. We don't know. I have it drawn out like this for now. We're going to be using other tools to figure out where we can look for Bitcoin to get to. But for now, I just want to show you guys that this could be a path where we put in a high into March and then we dump into the end of March, maybe 3 weeks leading into that, and then we put in a low high and we break down, right? That's one path. And then we want to play the next lower high. Essentially, if we get this move, we kind of want to actually gun, guys, for this. Let me get a horizontal for you guys. We kind of want to gun for this being a lower high, right? That we can either short into, take profits into. You want to be shorting into weakness at that time, right? So you want to find the weaker coins in the market. If you identify that Bitcoin is putting in a lower higher and then breaking down, you want to be looking to play this move, right? So 120, a move from like $220 to $120,000 on Bitcoin is going to have some other coins getting absolutely wrecked, right? That'll be opportunity for us to take advantage of. We don't want to miss that. This is what I meant at the beginning of this live stream, where how can we position ourselves mentally right now, as well as through our allocations, so that way we can take advantage of the market movements, regardless of what happens. And then we look back at this phase, right? The 6-month phase, and we look back at this 5 years from now, and we're like, damn, that changed my life, right? Because we do have life-changing opportunity coming up in the next 6 months, regardless of what happens. So remember, that could play out even with this move over here. Oops, that's not it. This, right? This move over here. If we can identify that, hey, this was actually the top. This is going to be a tad bit more difficult, by the way, guys, to do, because we'd be so early into the 6-month mark. where saying that this lower high here at 211 is a lower high is going to be difficult. We're going to try to do it. We're going to look for signs. But the reason I'm saying that is because you're not going to know until you take out this low over here at this drawing. 174 needs to be taken out for you to be confident that 207 is actually the high, right? Because what if we do this and then we do something like this, right? And then we put in a high into March again, like into the first scenario, right? So we don't know whether this could play out, the red line. So you want to guard against that, and the only way is to actually wait for the low to be taken out. Then what you can do is maybe short into the next lower high, right? If we get it. So that's going to be a tad bit more tricky, but I'm going to be here for you guys. So let's just undo all of that. Okay. So that was scenario 1 that we talked about. Scenario 2 I spoke to you guys about was how we put in a high into March as opposed to putting in a low into March. So this is going to be easy to play. Now, the next scenario that I want us to all be on guard for, that no one wants to talk about, but is extremely possible, guys, is this, right? Bitcoin pretty much goes sideways in a wide range where it kind of baits people into expecting a huge move, but it never really comes. We do get a move, which is still going to be a huge move in hindsight. Like when you look back at Bitcoin in hindsight, if you freaking mouse, if you just zoom in over here and get caught up into what Bitcoin is doing over here, this is going to feel like it's done nothing, right? But if you zoom out and you look at Bitcoin through this lens, and it does the, let's actually hide this. Okay. If you look at Bitcoin doing this and you zoom out, like in hindsight, like years later, you're like, oh man, that was so obvious. Like Bitcoin did like a 10x. Why did I think that was not enough, right? Through that lens, you need to be okay with this scenario playing out and understand that it's fine. Bitcoin did its thing. Okay, did its thing. Almost a 10x move from the lows. Not a 10x. Actually, no, right? Because we bottomed at around 15,000. Now we didn't enter 15,000. So if you think about the bottom, I'm making this mistake too. I keep benching to my entry, right? And that's a mistake. Like whoa, we need to emphasize this, because I've made this mistake before in the past too. Not in this way, in a far more amateur way, where it was my entry that mattered, right? It was how much I'm making on the asset that mattered, not what the asset has actually done. For example, if I entered at $5 and the asset only goes up to $20, right? This actually happened, by the way, to me. I was like, oh, that's barely a move, right? That's only a 4x, 5x maybe. But my average being $4 to $5 is irrelevant, considering people were entering at 30 cents, at 20 cents, right? That didn't matter to me because I'm so conceited. It's all about me. I'm so self-obsessed, right? My position matters. I didn't get enough, so there's clearly more to go on this asset. But that wasn't the case. Around $18-ish ended up being the top, right? And a lot of people made far more money. Like $18 was freaking huge moves for them, right? But for me, it was nothing compared to what everyone else was making. Yeah, this is 2017. Now, we got to make sure that we're not making the same mistake right now. Just because we entered at around $17,000 to $19,000, we need to understand that the low for Bitcoin is actually $15,500. And you might be asking, Sean, who could have bought there? I mean, clearly someone bought there, right? Otherwise we wouldn't have put in a low at 15,500. People were either closing shorts there or people were buying there. Closing shorts is you buying into the market, right? So the high at being at around $155,000 is going to be a 10x. So that's close to 10x. Yeah. Went off on a tangent there, but a very important tangent. So this could possibly happen where we kind of go sideways. And this is where it's going to be very, very important, guys, to be taking those opportunities on altcoins. Right? Because if you are too caught up onto Bitcoin, and this is coming from me, guys. The entire cycle, I've been saying Bitcoin, 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 Bitcoin. Now I'm trying to say, hey, we got to widen our horizons, but do it extremely tactically, not blindly, not brainlessly. And again, when we do see the altcoin opportunities, we will be sharing them on the Mango Juice newsletter. That'll be we'll be doing one newsletter a week, again, provided that you guys are actually interested. So show your interest by just signing up, right? Name, email, and your trading view ID, so you get free access to the Mango ribbon and future indicators. Now, if we do see this path and Bitcoin does break down and everyone's confused as to whether it's broken down or not, what do we do? How do we know? How do we tell, etc., etc.? Well, again, the big one is going to be the Mango dynamic, as well as what the Red Liger mentioned, and we talked about that in yesterday's live stream, is the 21 EMA 10 SMA price above the 10 SMA combo that we'll be keeping an eye on. Another thing that I want to talk about in today's live stream that we haven't talked about in a while is the Bitcoin gold ratio. Now, we've been following this at Mango for years now. You guys know that we've been using this to get early signs on how to enter Bitcoin, how to exit Bitcoin. It's worked out really well, even over here. If you guys remember, April, Bitcoin was holding this. Remember, guys, this chart can go down in multiple ways. Either gold is pumping and Bitcoin isn't, or gold is dumping, but Bitcoin's dumping even harder. Very important to remember this. We're going to come back to that. So over here, when we saw this move, Bitcoin was underperforming gold's performance. Gold was ripping. And right over here, that was a decision point for us where we were like, okay, Bitcoin loses this on a monthly. It's going to mean bad things. And when we looked at Bitcoin's chart on the USD time frame, it wasn't sitting on support, and Bitcoin looked kind of good. So we could play that thesis that, no, we think Bitcoin's going to recover here. Bitcoin's going to start outperforming in the time being against gold. And look at that. Next freaking 4 months, Bitcoin demolished. The problem over here now is that this price structure, this late into the cycle, is kind of telling us that we need to be on guard. Okay, that doesn't mean Bitcoin's USD price is going to falter, but it could. This chart could be giving us an early signal that, hey, regardless of what Bitcoin is doing, even though the USD chart is up, if this level, if Bitcoin against gold loses the monthly dynamic, we need to be on watch. This will be a major flag for me personally. And again, I've drawn this out for you guys. I was looking for this kind of structure. It pretty much played out up until this point here, where if you guys look at this blue line horizontal, which right over here, right at around 37, I would have liked for Bitcoin to break that level against gold. However, we saw resistance there, put on a low high, and prices come down. So if you guys are following the Mango C program under the advanced trend analysis module, we talk about this specifically, right? This exact structure, the psychology of the structure. If you guys have been in the C program for a while and have forgotten those ideas, I implore you guys to revisit that module. Okay, I talk to you guys about how the most successful seedlings are people who have rewatched the module multiple times. They've come back years after. I showed you guys the screenshot of that seedling who like paid off his house, made millions, came back years later and was telling me how he's rewatching the modules and now he's making even more money in TradFi, right? So if you guys want to take your education seriously, take it seriously, right? I never stop studying, nor should you guys. I keep revisiting books that I've read years ago. If you guys have paid for the C program, take advantage of it. It was built so that way you guys can. I built the C program so that way my kids can watch it someday and be like, wow, this is still practical till today, right? I built it for my kids. So you guys can watch it forever and you guys can pass it down to your kids, right? So take advantage of it. Again, go off on a tangent, but this idea over here, guys, right? We talked about the psychology of this in seed. And to make it very, very simple for the rest of you watching over here, what we need to be on guard for is, I'm going to use a trend line here. Just watch out for this structure. Okay, watch out for this structure. Okay, if we see the monthly dynamic breaking right over here, we are essentially seeing the bulls fail to push price up right over here, and the bears succeed at this level over here. If the low gets taken down at around 25, that's a confirmation. That's confirmation that the bulls just don't have what it takes to keep this trend going, and we may see something like this. We want to be on guard for that. We want to be on guard for that. And if this happens while Bitcoin's USD price is still going up, how amazing is that going to be for us, right? Because we will get to exit into strength. Wolfie's like, you gotta have some kids. Wolfie's been trying to convince me to have kids for like 3 years now. I think he just wants to have like these kid parties together with his kids. Oh, that's awesome, man. MC. Good stuff. Okay. Now, with that out of the way, any questions on that, by the way? All right, I'll move on. Next thing I want to talk about is this rising channel against the Mango bi-weekly dynamic. Has been perfect this entire cycle. Has made us a lot of money. We can look towards this region right over here as a potential take profit region, because this trend line now is going to be respected by the market. He's a year and a half old, and you're making him watch seed. That's commitment, man. Good stuff. Wow. So yeah, going back to this right over here, if price does make its way to this trend line over here, that would be a good region where I'd be like, okay, you know what? We don't want to try to call the top. We don't want to call the top, but we want to like pluck these moments out. These zones out where it's a high probability area to feel good about taking some profits, right? If you do plan on taking some profits, if you do need some lifestyle chips, if you do need to pay off a tad bit of your mortgage, a chunk of your mortgage, pay off your car, etc., and you're like, where can I take profits without feeling like complete ass about myself if price does go higher, right? This would be one of those levels where like, okay, I use some level of skill and analysis where a lot of other traders are likely going to be coming in to take profits over there too, and that would have likely put downward pressure, right? So you want to monitor this trend line as price progresses, because as we keep going sideways, this trend line is going higher and higher and higher, right? So we don't know where and when this trend line is going to get hit. For example, let's say we shift this to around, like we were here, right? And I marked out, that's not showing right there. Okay, cool. So we had two potential tops coming in, and first week of Jan, second week of Jan, and one coming in March, right? So now we can use this drawing to get an idea of how this price target would shift. So let's go up to around Jan. Damn, that takes us to around 190-ish to 175, right? So 190 to 175 if we top out somewhere around here. What if we take this all the way to March? Let's go ahead and get this out. Okay, that's good. I'm gonna copy this, and we're gonna take this to somewhere around March, somewhere around here. So somewhere around here would be around 200-ish. So it doesn't move. It's not moving all that fast, right? But it's moving. It's moving. Do you guys get what I mean with this? So these are two potential targets, again, just based on this tool, just based on this trend analysis, right? The other things that we're going to be looking at in the coming weeks as well. Bitcoin now sitting at $122,000 at the time of this live stream. Now, finally, we want to talk about the Bitcoin dominance chart. We lost the weekly trend, the bi-weekly trend rather. And now we're pulling in a short-term bounce. This is coming off the monthly dynamic, by the way. It's no coincidence. You should be expecting some sort of bounce over here. Also lined up with the reclaim of the daily dynamic. So we got both, right? Something else that we talked about in the C Clubhouse session like a couple of weeks ago, where we have a test of the monthly dynamic as well as the reclaim of the daily dynamic, leading into a short-term push towards the upside. We can look towards the bi-weekly dynamic, seeing a retest. So maybe over the next couple of weeks, we might see Bitcoin dominance lead again, where we're only looking for a lower high, though. We're not looking for a reclaim of trend. That's going to take some while now, where we'll have to do this and then put in a higher low, and then it's too much time before we can even call for a reclaim of the trend on the bi-weekly. Okay, on the monthly, yeah, sure, but not the bi-weekly. So for now, we're looking for low high, and then again performance by altcoins again in after the next couple of weeks. So for now, Bitcoin is still what you want to focus on, but at the same time, keep an eye on the altcoins. Speaking of altcoins, ETH doing exactly what we talked about. The big clue for ETH was the monthly dynamic. Let me just go ahead and pull it up for you guys right over there. Retesting the monthly dynamic after losing it all the way in October 2023. Retesting it finally after 2 years, and yeah, Jesus Christ, 2 years, and seeing resistance. That being said, the Ichimoku, which is what we were just looking at, is what you want to focus on for now, the 3-day or the 4-day Ichimoku, because we are now looking to close a 4-day candle underneath the Tenkin. 3-day has already lost the Tenkin, the 200 moving. Again, I drew out this exact edge-to-edge trade for you guys in the ETH video I did. We played it out to the T, right? Saw some resistance against the 200 moving average, poked our head above into the horizontal resistance. Ichimoku is king. However, unfortunately, we made that move, right? We talked about the Tenkin will either come up to price or price comes down to the Tenkin, or we could have the third scenario where both happen and we meet some in the middle. Well, the Tenkin actually came up, price came down after going sideways for a tad bit, but now we've lost the Tenkin, lost the 200 moving average. There's a potential, guys, that we see a move all the way down to the 3-day Kijun. I don't think so, but you just got to watch out for that for now. You just got to watch out. You can't get bullish on ETH until we reclaim at least the 3-day Tenkin, 3-day 200 moving average. It's going to take some time. And then finally, I do want to take a look at SUI USDT for you guys. I am even though it's not the best looking chart in the world, I'm kind of bullish on this one. Why? Because it's just so easy to play. If we do get a monthly candle close into these wicks, we talked about this in yesterday's live stream. And then if we do get those candle closes into these wicks over here, we have a move, like a nice move. The asymmetry of this move is really, really nice. Looking to target around $25 to $35 at the very least on SUI. So again, we've played two great trend trades on SUI using the 2-day dynamic, right? Just going to show it to you guys. We played this trend over here from around 50 cents all the way up to around $2. Lost the 2-day dynamic right over here. Played it all. We didn't play it, but we watched it all go all the way to the downside. Stayed away from it. Reclaimed it over here. Got in this red zone over here. Remember, we did daily videos for both trades back then. For the second trade, we were looking for a target of around $7. It did not hit, right? But it doesn't matter. Our exit was either hit the target or we lose the 2-day dynamic. Well, we got to around $5, lost the 2-day dynamic at around $4, exited the trade. Still a great trade. Again, watched it all the way towards the downside. Now, here's what's important. We tried the same trade again, and it did not work out. And that's what trading is about. You're not going to win them all. You just need to win one. We won 2 out of 3. Right, which is enough, right? More than enough. So once that happens, though, you have now received signal from the asset telling you that this asset is no longer trending against that time frame, right? So you got to go up a few time frames, like significantly. You can't just go from 2-day to the 3-day. You got to go up to the weekly, bi-weekly, maybe the monthly. In my opinion, this is now consolidating on the monthly, right? Two amazing trends, guys. Like you can see it here. First trend, second trend. This is consolidation, right? I'm pretty sure Elliott wave folk are going to say that this was wave 1 into wave 2, wave 3. This is like wave 4 or something, and then maybe you're having a fifth wave, right? Again, I'm not an Elliott wave expert, but if you guys are, let me know. Either way, I'm looking for one more leg. If this breaks down, though, it's very easy to identify. Right over here at $2.73 is where I'd be looking for a line in the sand on SUI. We do not want it to lose 270. Ideally, though, you don't want it closing monthly candles underneath 3 or 5. Again, we can go ahead and we'll keep you guys updated on this one. And any key levels that SUI does break either to the upside or towards the downside, we will be letting you guys know in the Mango Juice newsletter. Again, sign up while you guys can. And yeah, hope you guys enjoyed this sitting on the weekly dynamic too. I see that. I'm not all that thingy though. Like I'm not going to be using it as invalidation because I think this could come down lower. Let's see. Oh, actually no, because I'm looking at the monthly, right? The monthly over here, this 305, 309 level is important. If the weekly close underneath the weekly dynamic lines up with the monthly close, then yeah, that's going to be important. And we do have a trend line here too, right? Not going to be there, somewhere like that. It's squeezing. Not the prettiest picture, but I feel like it's just easy to manage. Okay. I hope this live stream was helpful. Let me know in the comments. I'll see you guys in Discord, themangoway.com/Discord. Until the next one, keep it mango, keep it easy, keep it stress-free, and yeah, ciao.